Hey there, everybody. This is Carrie Hamblen, the CEO and president of the Las Cruces Green Chamber of Commerce, coming to you again with another one of our Zoom chats, our super popular member benefit to the members of the Las Cruces Green Chamber of Commerce. And these Zoom chats are really quick. They're about 10 to 15 minutes. And we uplift you through all of our social media, on our YouTube channel, and through our email marketing. And so today I have with me somebody who is very much an expert on marketing and getting out and getting connected with people. I have the one and only Tamera Ahner, who is the area. It's so lovely to see you.
Oh, it's great to see you.
Tamera is the area director of N2 Publishing and the creator of the BeLocal magazine, which I have here, and Stroll Sonoma Ranch and Stroll Picacho Hills. Tamera, love it. Oh, you've got there, so we'll do them all. Like we'll just do
Yeah.
this. Yes, very
We got
excited.
you. We got you.
Very excited about this. And so, even though, just full transparency, Tamara's about 30 feet that way because she is a tenant here at the Green Chamber. We've been working together on creating wonderful magic for at least a couple of years now, since you started with N2. And I had a learning curve when it came down to N2 because your predecessor, Liz Ham, was very excited about N2 joining the Green Chamber, and then her life took her in a different direction, and you came on board like running at a full sprint.
I sure did.
You did.
And for those of you who know Liz Ham, she's a dear friend of mine. She and her family relocated to Richmond, Texas, and she's still very much a part of our organization. I talk to her almost once a week. Yeah.
Tell her we said hi.
I sure will.
And so when we talk about this, I just want to, for clarification, N2 Publications is a nationwide organization, but you are a franchisee, which is, we see this a lot. Like, there are several UPS stores, which is a member of the Green Chamber, as a franchisee. And so their business license is located here. And so with this, N2 has seen kind of some things change and really kind of move into, not necessarily, I don't mean to say modern age as a way of, as a dig, because there's still a population here that wants something to hold on to, right? And we recognize that. But how have you seen N2 kind of change in its role, its place in Las Cruces? Because
Gosh,
it's interesting,
yeah.
right?
Yeah. So, that's such a great question, Carrie. So our company, N2 Publishing, has been around for almost 20 years. In fact, in January, we're all going to be celebrating our 20-year anniversary together in Atlanta, and we're super excited about that. We've got so much to celebrate. Our neighborhood publications are reaching over 600 neighborhoods across the country. And we're just way past the point of figuring out what's really important to our communities, what's important to our neighbors. I feel so blessed and fortunate to be at the service of our greater community here in Las Cruces, and also specifically our neighbors of Sonoma Ranch and our neighbors of Picacho Hills. And essentially what we do as a company is our mission is to strengthen the family unit, to strengthen community, and to help local businesses really prosper. We want to connect. My role specifically in here in Las Cruces is, I just feel as though I've been given the best job. I am the community connector. And so what that means is I get to connect local businesses to a very tough to reach audience. Oftentimes, with marketing and advertising specifically, we just want to throw our hands up in the air, because where do we start and where do we end and where do we put our money? And, in light of all of the shifts and changes we've seen as a world over the last 3, 4, 5 years, one thing we know for sure is that our local businesses are being extremely strategic in how they're spending those dollars. And for me to be able to help them reach a very specific demographic very intentionally is such a gift. They never have to wonder, they never have to worry, am I reaching that target audience? And so I feel really, really fortunate that, I get to be in that role. So helping local businesses reach a difficult to reach audience, or just helping them be very strategic and hyper focused about where they're spending their money.
Absolutely. Sure. And those are things that you and I both share in values, is making sure that our businesses keep their money in this community, because we know how it benefits the community and it's not
Yes.
going outside the state. And that's what we really think is really important. Well, with the B Stroll, the Stroll, I'm combining them, but with the Stroll
Yeah.
Picacho Hills and the Stroll Sonoma Ranch, the two magazines that you shared, how have you seen that? Because that used to be Picacho Hills Living and Sonoma Ranch Living. And
Yes.
so
Yes.
how'd that change? What was the reason for that?
Yes. So there's a few things going on there. So we as a company, we have this motto, like, better, you do better, right? And we realized about 3 years ago that we had missed this golden opportunity. Here we are serving all these wonderful neighborhoods across the country, but from one community to the next, they didn't know who we were. And so what we did was we engaged in a year-long branding campaign. And last summer, we rebranded our Sonoma Ranch and our Picacho and all of our publications across the country to the Stroll brand. So now anyone across the country, when they hear the name Stroll, they think of us.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's so fun when I hear from members of our community who have been visiting family and friends across the country and say, "Hey, Tamara, I saw the Stroll magazine in my auntie's neighborhood." So we're Stroll Sonoma Ranch, Stroll Picacho Hills, and Stroll across the country. And even though I'm the soldier here on the ground in Las Cruces, I'm surrounded and backed by a very robust team of experts that dedicate their professional lives to making sure that every publication is better than the last. And just making sure that all the stories that our neighbors are writing, and that's what makes us a bit unique, is that my role is to gather all the stories that our neighbors are writing about their jobs, their families, their kids, their pets, their travels, their work in our community, their hobbies, gather all the stories that they are writing and turn it into that tangible, beautiful, handheld piece that they cannot wait to read, that shows up in their mailbox and they're excited to get it and to read it.
Mm-hmm.
And because we also live in a digital world, we found that it's important for our readers to have access to the publication online as well. Our studies have shown, this might be interesting to you all, our studies have shown that the reader is 65% more likely to trust the product that they're reading when they can physically touch it and hold it and feel it. But let's not leave off that other 35%. So we want to make sure that through our programs with our business partners, that not only are they being seen in print, but we also include in the program at no extra cost that digital ad, where we're grabbing that geofencing, where we're grabbing those
Mm-hmm.
IP addresses out of our neighborhoods and making sure that our neighbors are seeing that print ad in the digital format throughout the month as well. And of course, now with the digital market, we've been doing that for many years now. So the analytics are showing that the printed publication remains strong. In fact, we just built, I think it was a $20 million print facility in Dallas. So with our 20-year anniversary, we've brought all of our printing in-house because we know print is just never going to go away. And so now, we can be more economical in how we're and have more purpose in getting that publication to the neighbors on a timely basis. So the print and the digital piece is equally important on the Stroll brand.
Well, it's interesting because when you talk about geocaching and geofencing and the SEOs, and there's still so many, especially I think about our small businesses that just don't have the personnel capacity to understand that, right?
Yes.
Like
Oh my
so many
gosh.
businesses don't have, human resources.
Yes.
Sometimes they outsource their accounting because they don't have that. And, when you start talking about advertising and just being really strategic and knowledgeable
Yes.
about this electronic landscape that we
Yes.
were forced to work on and really, really maximize during the pandemic, but now recognizing that we're still on our computers and on our phones probably more than we want to be.
Yes.
And you're missing an audience by not going that route.
Yes. In fact, Carrie, thank you for bringing that up. I have a very robust digital team behind me with real live human beings, not bots, that are on my team here in Las Cruces that are dedicated to us. And just know, if for anyone who's listening today, regardless of whether you are a partner with me or not, my team and I, we conduct complimentary client needs analysis in the digital realm. So essentially, if you just reach out to me, my team and I have the capability to work with our home-based team, our digital team, and just really run a comprehensive report. Let's see how you are faring in comparison to your competitors. Let's see how your website is performing. We do website analysis for all of our existing and any other, company across the community that's interested. We'll do a website analysis. We'll check in, see like, how are you being seen? How are you being heard in the digital format? And then provide you with those analytics. So you can take those analytics, you can incorporate improvements yourself if you just don't have a budget for digital marketing, or we can help you do that, or you can take that information you learned from us and take it to the person who's actually doing that for you. Because if I believe that my role is to help to build a stronger community, I'm not going to withhold that information from a smaller or a large company that could use that information. And by the way, we have helped countless numbers of very large businesses here in our community, as well as the small mom and pop shop, help them figure out how to effectively use the dollars that they do have. And in some cases, that quick Google ad is kind of can be the solution. Without going down a rabbit hole, we also have discovered that there's some beautiful websites out there that have been created for many of our local businesses, but they are performing at a very low return on their investment, and we can help with that.
Yeah, and that's where when we start talking about search engine optimization, and we have to think about, like, when we Google, who pops up first, and you want to make sure that you're on that first page of when people Google, because then that shows that you're using the right keywords. I mean, it's and for so many, and I think of a lot of our small businesses, a lot of that is really overwhelming and
and we
intimidating.
educate. Yeah, and so you don't have to worry. I love the business who comes to me and says, Tamera, I know nothing about this, because that's our opportunity to provide the education. And what I love about our work and our company is I'm not going to try to sell someone something they don't need. I mean, that's just, to me, that's a horrific way to build a partnership.
Well, and word gets around when you do that. So, people know this is a small community. That's the one, the glory about that.
That's right. So we always say, think of us as an extension of your team. We're on your team. We want you to succeed, and we're going to provide you with the education so you can be making those intelligent decisions yourself about what you feel you need. No one knows your business better than you.
Right. But and the thing that I find is that our small businesses are working so hard that there's sometimes they just don't have the capacity to promote all the amazing things that they're doing. Because they do it because they're committed to this community and they're invested in this community, and yet they don't share with other people. And sometimes they think it's just because, well, we're just bragging. And I'm like, no, you're letting people know what you do, because there's a value to you. So I appreciate that. There are a couple things that you've touched on, not only just the advertising, but the really kind of giving back. And so N2 as a corporation has the N2 Gives. And so there are two components to that. So there's a national or global initiative that N2 does, but then also looking at what you do locally. Can you talk a little bit about that with N2 Gives?
Sure. So this is another aspect of our work that makes my heart sing and gets me excited about doing my work every day. Every time I have an opportunity to meet a business owner for the first time, I just feel so fortunate that I get to have that time with them, because regardless of whether we get to partner or not, I now have another resource in my back pocket that I can refer to a neighbor. And in the fortunate event that together we decide that a partnership is going to be a fruitful relationship for them and for us, every time a business partner enters into a relationship with us and we have a contract, and they get to place an ad and be part of our program, they are actually saving a human life. And what I mean by that is 10 years ago, we launched our N2 Gives program. And we dedicate 5% of our earnings every year as a company to eradicating human trafficking. And so here we are 10 years later, $20 million later, we have saved countless numbers of lives around the world from human trafficking. And through our analysis, we've been able to equate it directly back to every single ad. So when a business partner comes on board and they purchase an ad from us and become part of our network and part of our program, which is multifaceted, as you probably can tell, they actually are saving a human life. And coming up in November, we're going to be celebrating N2 Gives. Next week is actually our N2 Gives week. And so we'll be promoting it on our local social media and our national social media as well. But it's something we're really proud of. It's very compelling work. It can be very emotional work. I've had the blessing of being in the company of those who are out, doing that work. And it is really, it's just really mind-boggling and very compelling. And I feel very proud to be a part of it.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad that you are. As we finish up today, talking about BeLocal, I personally do not think we can have enough efforts to help uplift our local businesses. I always talk about how the Green Chamber started when we got a very popular Italian chain in town, and the town went nuts and said, we're finally a real city. And we had 3 locally owned Italian food restaurants that were saying, what about us?
Yeah.
And so, I feel that, every way that we can uplift our locally owned businesses is something that we have to all do. And so you launched BeLocal a year ago, and I remember our initial conversations about how they would be complementary to what the Green Chamber does and how you've got capacity to do some things that the Green Chamber doesn't. And so it was a year ago that this launched, and you work with a dear friend that we both have, Rachel Courtney, who no longer lives here, but she's still got her, she's still very much a part of it. And I love seeing that.
Yeah.
Tell us about, BeLocal and how you see the magazine helping uplift our local businesses in the community.
Absolutely. So I'm just going to spend a minute talking about the premise behind BeLocal. So again, we want to operate with purpose, okay? And so our company engaged in a national research campaign trying to establish and determine, where were there some needs for all of us as individuals across the country that just weren't being met. And the striking return on that study was a new mover's guide. There was no comprehensive new mover's guide that could introduce a new mover to their new hometown. We wanted to eliminate the guesswork for new movers to just get acclimated and feel like they were part of the community. So after a lot of contemplation and research here in Las Cruces, our company said, hey, Tamera, Las Cruces is growing at a very rapid pace. We really feel that the community would potentially benefit. So I took the model to the city and said, listen, this is something that we'd like to create. We got the green light. And so we spent last spring working with residents across the city, gathering their hidden gems and their local tips and compiling all of that information into our community's basically just resource guide. And what we found is that when the guide launched last July, we were super proud of it and excited. It's very comprehensive. It's not an ad book. It's not a yellow pages. We thought that it would be it's designed to help people who are new to the area, or even if they're just moving across town, to figure out the secrets that it usually takes years to learn, right? So here's the hidden gems. We want you to know where the parks are, where the bike trails are, where the local restaurants are, where's the coffee shops, where are you going to have your child's birthday party, where's the best margarita, chips and salsa. And we wanted them to get we wanted to have a resource so they could become acclimated to our community quickly and have access to those things they need. Now, on the business side, what's really important to know is that many of our local businesses, they see that new mover audience as a target that they'd like to reach, but just don't know how to reach them, right? And we also, through our research, have learned that a new family coming into the community, in the first 12 months of the move, they're establishing relationships with 7 and on average 72 new relationships. Okay, that's a lot of relationships. We
Yeah.
also know that they're likely to invest in those relationships and stick with those relationships because they don't have a reason to go elsewhere. Okay. This is also a group of people that does not have a circle of influence. They don't know anyone in the community,
Right.
and they have not established their word of mouth referral base. So what we do with the BeLocal is we introduce them to those resources that they need before, during, and after the move. We have relationships with local realtors who share the guide with new movers before they come to our community. So they're checking us out, they're making those decisions before they come. And then through our national digital marketing campaign, we have the ability to recognize a new mover that's looking at Las Cruces online and push them to the publication landing page. In the last 11 months, 10 months, I was telling you earlier, in the last 10 months here in Las Cruces, we had 11,000 unique IP addresses from around the country looking at Las Cruces and looking specifically at our BeLocal publication online. We also have a huge local following. So I have movers, I have residents, longtime residents of the city that have literally moved across the city and received the publication in their mailbox and said, Tamera, I didn't even know half of these restaurants were in our city. The other thing that we love about BeLocal, it's not a pay to play. If you don't have the resources as a business to be part of BeLocal as a sponsor, but you have the best margarita in town, guess what? We're going to list you in the guide. This is a living, breathing monthly publication, and we're constantly inviting our community to contribute. So if you have a hidden gem, a local tip, or a business that you think needs this type of visibility, then you just reach out and we'll make it happen. We are super passionate about it. We love it so much. You're going to be seeing, I'm going to put this up, you're going to be seeing these window decals all over town. We're very strategic and we don't want to be wasteful. So the publications are strategically placed all over town at places where new movers are likely to be, right? Motor vehicle department, social security office, hotel lobbies, rec centers, the museums, the libraries, all of those places where we tend to go and people tend to be. And then we want to make sure that the publication is available online. So you can actually have it on your mobile device as a live, living, breathing lookbook. The ads inside the flip book are live, so you can click on the ad. It'll drive you to call that business or go to their publication go to their landing page. So we just want to be that local resource and continue to grow it. And also shine a light on really wonderful community members who are those silent soldiers out there doing great things. And so you'll see recurring stories about families in the community as well through the BeLocal.
Well, and that's a lot to digest because there's so much going on there with that, which is amazing. And so, as we finish up, if you'd like to know more about Stroll, Picacho Hill, Stroll Sonoma Ranch, or BeLocal, or contact Tamera, that person right there, all of that information is either above or below, all depending on the platform that you're looking at us on right now. But Tamera, your energy is so contagious, and I love it. And I love just we are friends outside of this, and so it's lovely to be able to just work together and be able to help make Las Cruces and all the great things that we know it is, and be able to uplift everybody who's doing it too, who's making that happen, because it's not a solo effort.
Yeah, it takes a village, and I feel so fortunate to be a part of it. And thank you so much, Carrie. Appreciate it. And just know, just think of me as a resource. And if there's any way I can help or introduce you to another business, just be thinking of me as just a part of your team, as a resource here in our community.
Yeah. Well, we'll have all of that information on how to contact Tamera Ahner with N2 Publications. Thank you so much, Tamera. It's always lovely to see you and be able to talk to you, even though sometimes you just walk by and I say, hey, because you go through my office here.
That's right.
When you forget your keys. And it's always good because we take care of each other. That's what it's about, right? We take care of each other.
That's right.
All right,
Thank you,
Tamera. It's great seeing you. Same here.
Have a good one.
You too.